All right, good evening and welcome to the 4th annual Commotion Pictures Screening.
Thank you all for letting us into your homes tonight. It's great to be with you.
Now, my name is Steve Stifano, along with my colleague and co-host, Sara Stifano. And together, we teach the Multimedia Production course sequence in UConn's Department of Communication. Now, each year, with the help of our colleagues in the department, we put together the Commotion Pictures Screening as a red carpet event in downtown Hartford.
Due to COVID-19, that couldn't happen this year, but our students still wanted to showcase their work, and we wanted to celebrate everything they've done this year.
So, to all our students out there watching, it's pretty miraculous to see what you've been able to create given the circumstances, and we are proud to bring it to the world live on YouTube right here tonight.
So we hope everyone out there is safe, we hope everyone is healthy, and we're really glad you joined us tonight. We'll show you both documentary and narrative short films created by our students as part of their coursework.
Now, these films will cover a variety of topics and genres, and some will have some adult themes. And we know we've got a wide range of audience members out there watching, so we will display a rating for each film before it appears so that you know when it might be time for some ice cream.
And I'll be getting some ice cream too.
As will the little one. Okay.
One more really important thing. Tonight we'll give away $500 in scholarship prizes to our most outstanding films.
Yes, a jury audience is watching the films live with you, and at the close of the show, they'll be debating their choices for Best Picture and for Honorable Mention. And we'll reveal the winners right here, live on YouTube, on this stream.
We'll be here throughout the night as your MCs, and we promise not to ramble.
Sure.
So settle in. It's time to get started.
Okay, our first film is a documentary about someone you may have passed by without even noticing if you've ever visited Central Park. This is Ankit.
There was a secret chord, and they even played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? And it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall while the major lift up. Baffled king composed it hallelujah.
My name's Ankit Shrestha. I'm from Nepal and I'm 27 years old. I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, and a producer. So I started playing music when I was 9 years old. They had like music lessons in school and we had to pick an instrument. So I just picked guitar, and then I started singing like later when I was like 15, 16 years old.
You needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throat while she cut your hair, and from the lips she drew a hallelujah.
Doing music in Nepal is like, and especially when I was there, I was doing like metal music, and it was like you couldn't make a living doing music. So that's one of the reasons why I always wanted to come to America, like, you know, to see like how's the music industry and like how the music scene is here. I moved to US in 2012 because I wanted to do my undergrad here. So I applied and then I got the visa and stuff. I studied music, like liberal arts and music. It was just like general music and business minor. After I graduated, I went back and then I stayed a year and then I came again for my diploma, and like I'm doing audio production, audio engineering right now. I'm glad that I like moved to New York because like I play in subways and like in parks a lot, and I get a lot of gigs from there. Like every day people want me to perform in their like weddings and like parties and stuff, and even like bars, restaurants. Once there was this guy, like I was just performing, like it was like 10 o'clock at night, and there was a lot of people. He just came to me and like he just grabbed my bucket and like he ran away. I was like, I thought it was like one of my friends, like, you know, just like messing around. But then he just like ran and then into the alley, and I was like, shit, this is a real thief. Like, and then everyone was watching, and then I put my guitar down, like, and then I chased him, and there was like 5-10 people behind me chasing, and we chased him for like 10-15 streets, and then I caught him, and I just grabbed my bucket, and I was like, dude, like, what the hell, like. And then the other people, they were coming behind me and they were like trying to have a fight, but I was like, no, it's just like leave it, it's fine. And then we went back, and there was like literally like 100-200 people. They saw what happened and they were like, you know, taking videos and stuff. And everyone was like, oh, poor guy, like, you know, like. And then they tipped me so much. Like I made a lot of money that day. Most of my income comes from street performing. Every hour, like I try to count my money and like see how much I'm making, like if I'm doing good or not. All the street performers, they don't make the same money, but like I think, yeah, if you're good, like, you know, I think it's more than enough, I would say.
I heard him playing my favorite song, and it was so good because I thought it was recording, and then I saw it was him playing it live, so I had to stop and listen.
Do you think that it's hard to make a living this way?
Oh yeah. Which is why I don't stop unless I have money, because I don't want to just kind of use them for my own entertainment and not give anything back.
Because he obviously has so much talent, so it makes me wonder, like, okay, so why is he specifically chosen to do it here in like Central Park?
I think he should go to school, get a good education, you know, and maybe become a doctor instead, because he's going to have fun playing music, but unlikely that he'll...
I'm a musician. He doesn't mean this. He does not mean this at all.
I sort of do.
For the answers I never seem to find.
I started writing in English mostly, but like I still write in Nepali. Like, you know, when I came here, then you start missing your country and like you're like, oh, like, and then I started writing in Nepali more.
These words they whisper, but I cannot understand. Maybe a word from you will help me feel this.
My favorite song to perform would be, I think, a Nepali song called Katha. Katha means a story. So it's a song I wrote for my grandmom when she passed away in 2014. I was here and I couldn't go back, and I couldn't see her, so I was here, and we were like really close. You know, she used to stay with us, like mostly, like, you know, with my mom and dad, and she was really caring, and she used to tell stories and stuff. So that's why I put the song name as Katha, which means a story, like, you know. So that song, every time I sing, like it gives me this feeling. I don't know, it's a different feeling. Usually when I street perform, it's like you make people happy. Like that's one of the, like, I don't know, I like that. You know, when people see me and they're like, they feel something. It's like such a good feeling. Like every day, it's like there's something. Like every day, like there's a kid, like, you know, 3 or like 4-year-old kid, like just sitting by my side, like just listening, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Or like people just hugging and like kissing and stuff, like just listening to my music, and that makes me feel something. And that's why I love it, and like that's why I do this every day.
Okay, so how would you feel if you couldn't leave your house right now?
I don't know. I don't have any frame of reference for that feeling at the moment.
What a novel experience.
It must be horrible.
So this next film maybe hits a little too close to home right now, but it's the story of a man who can't leave his house. This is Puzzle.
Lovers come and lovers go. I just want to be alone. Mama's hands, they felt so cold. Never had the chance to hold. Sunday summer sun has got me right down to the water.
Everything all right?
Just, do you know if Frank is around?
I'm pretty sure he's out of town for the weekend. He said something about a skydiving trip. No, maybe running with the bulls in Spain. I don't remember. Is it an emergency or something?
Not really. I was just checking in to see if he was around to check my faucet. I guess I'll just wait until he gets back.
Really? My dad's a plumber. Maybe I can take a look at it.
Actually, I should get back.
My name's Morgan BT Dubs. I live in 10B if you need any help. Oh, hi. How's your sink? Come on in. Do you always just walk into strangers' apartments?
I need to use your bathroom.
Are you okay in there?
I'm fine. Is it okay if I stay here for a bit?
Sure.
Lovers come and lovers go. I just want to be alone. Mama's hands, they felt so cold. Never had the chance to hold.
Wow, I haven't had this much fun in a while.
Really? Well, we can hang out again if you want. I never caught your name, BT Dubs.
Andrew.
People got me going crazy, got me 'cause I wanna go to school. People say I'm going crazy like I'm in a public swimming pool.
Singing.
Oh, I forgot that I'm locked out.
Your sink is broken and you're locked out?
Yeah.
Jeez, you're a mess. Wait right here. I know what to do.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Oh, please. I'll BRB.
How did you... That makes sense.
Maybe we can hang out again tomorrow?
Well, you have my number now, so.
Well, I find myself just burning bridges I think I'll never cross. And I find the only friends I have are friends
Okay, so now it's time for a little bit more serious matter. It's time that we discuss the elephant in the room. A lot of our students' projects were disrupted due to COVID-19. A lot of different film projects, independent studies were interrupted during shooting, or maybe never even got a chance to shoot. Senior Sarah Zambelli was one such student. She was doing an independent project with me, and right before she had a chance to shoot it, all hell broke loose. So we used a motto that we use in our multimedia production sequence, which is do what you can, where you are, with what you have. And Sarah did exactly that, tackling the one story that is swirling around all of us these days. So this is an on-the-fly independent study film called Pandemic.
It's been a little over a month since this whole thing started.
I used to think that I liked having time to myself and being alone more than I liked being with people, but turns out that's not true, and I miss social interaction a lot.
No one's life is meant to come to a screeching halt like this. I was a substitute teacher, and that changed in an instant. I'm back working in a grocery store. It's endless chaos.
These are unprecedented times. I work EMS in New York City, and COVID-19 has caused 911 calls to skyrocket. Normally, you would get 2 or 3 cardiac arrests a month, but during the pandemic, I ended up doing 5 cardiac arrests in one shift.
Before this, I was not very anxious. It's taking a toll on me. This whole thing is, and I think it's taking a toll on everyone.
I live with bipolar disorder, and most of my support comes from my interactions with my friends and my family. It has been exhausting to be alone with my anxiety-ridden thoughts about myself and now about the fragile state of our world.
I welcome a quick walk or bike ride as an escape, even though my mask tends to fog my glasses a bit.
I've honestly never been alone for this long. I find myself clinging to any shred of social interaction I can get. I feel like no one will ever check up on me. I just hope that everything will be over soon.
All of a sudden, the fragility of our world became undeniable. All I wanted to do was tell people how much they meant to me.
I want to thank everyone who supports me and hug them so tight. I have to remember even the darkest tunnels have a light at the end.
After this is all over, there's 1,000 things that I hope will change in society. I hope that people have a little more compassion for workers like grocery store workers and mail service workers and just people in general, because we're all trying our best.
I hope that this situation that we're in makes us slow down a little bit and figure out what really matters and what's really important before rushing into whatever comes next.
The most important thing for us to remember is that this will all end eventually. And when it does, I hope we'll all look at things a little bit differently.
Have you ever thought about how far you might go to attain your goals?
Probably about 500 miles.
500 miles?
And then maybe 500 more.
All right, that's a Proclaimers reference for everybody in our audience that's under the age of 30.
35.
35. This film answers that question and shows a student athlete on the brink. This is Pressure.
Morning, honey. It's Mom. Unfortunately, I have to work another double shift tonight, so I need your help again. I know you're saving up for school and you're working a lot of hours, but your help would mean the world to me. After practice this afternoon, can you pick up some groceries and make dinner for your sister? I'll pay you back once I get my next check. And make sure you check the mail. You're supposed to get more letters from schools today. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. I love you. Bye.
Morning. Hey. Tom, I'll see you. Bye, Spencer.
Hey, Mom. Just picked up groceries for Sarah and I for dinner. Hope work is going well. I really miss Dad. I wish you were here to help right now. But I'll see you later tonight. Hopefully there's some good news in the mail. Love you. Bye. Sarah, I'm home. Tom, I'll head out.
University of Texas on a full ride. I told you all of your hard work was going to pay off. I am so, so proud of you. This weekend, I'll take off and we can do something to celebrate. Your dad is so proud of you too. He's looking down on us, I know that. I can't wait to give you a hug when I see you tonight. Hurry home after school. I love you so much, sweetheart. See you soon.
Our top story tonight has been a local high school student at Springfield High. A member of the high school swim team was found dead at the bottom of the pool tonight by a janitor cleaning the facility. We are unable to release the student's name because of age restrictions, but authorities believe drowning to be the main cause of death. We will keep you updated as we receive more information on the incident and more details arise.
Okay, so every now and then, a special kind of project comes through our multimedia production sequence, and it's really exciting to see what occurs. Last spring, Eric Yang showed up in my office. He wanted me to mentor his idea grant application. He, along with Eric Wang, Charlotte Lau, and Maggie Shafoulias, wanted to take a trip to Yosemite to create a photography exhibition and to document their experience. Even better, just a few short months later, they got their idea grant, so they were free to go.
But after COVID-19, Eric found himself without a path toward creating a different film for his independent study. So they made a deal. He'd take his travel documentary footage and carve a short piece out of it. So this is the result, and it's called Yosemite Lights.
Everyone packs for a big trip differently. Some wait for the morning of their flight. Some pack and unpack 5 times. Others throw all of their belongings in a bag and call it a day. For photographers, packing takes on a little more importance, especially for us, who have spent about 5 months planning our trip. We tried to account for everything before the day of our flight came. No matter how much we plan, we're still anxious and excited to be on our way.
After hours of traveling by plane and car from the other side of the country, we were finally getting close to our destination, Yosemite National Park.
Can I get a little wave?
Months of planning had finally brought us here, to chase the lights of the park and eventually capture sunrise, sunset, and stars through photography. As photographers, we crave to go out and create the best photo, waking up early or staying up late to be able to see the magic of the sky. When we got to our condo, the tiredness started to hit us. Yet it was hard for us to sleep when we knew that there was a whole park out there waiting for us to explore.
There's something about sunrise that makes it magical. Maybe it's the early wake-ups, struggling to get up. Maybe it's the drive up in the dark, not knowing what exactly you'd be seeing at the top, but knowing you're one of the only few people that is about to witness something magical. Makes everything so worth it. Sunrise at Glacier Point has one of the most impressive views of the park. It's a well-known location for photographers and travelers, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to come to Yosemite. We woke up at 4 a.m. and drove up to Glacier Point for an attempt to get the sunrise shot. We didn't really have a plan for the shot since it's just the third day of the trip. At first, we're scouting around the locations, finding the best place for a nice view. In the meantime, trying to create something that's different, something that has never been done before. The sight of the park lighting up after the sun rose above Half Dome kept us coming back. The sunrise photo that stuck out to us was the one that I took of Maggie.
Step to the right. That way, that way. Go. I'm gonna tell you to stop. And keep going, keep going. Stop right there. Oh, step back one time. One foot. Alright. Move.
There's something about Yosemite that attracts adventure seekers. Our first morning in the park, we witnessed a group of hang gliders diving off of a cliff into Yosemite Valley.
I'm on my shins right now. Okay,
Seeing these people willing to risk their lives to see the park from a different view made us realize for the first time how special Yosemite really is. Sunset isn't just a time of day, it's an energy. It's about gratitude and awe and taking a moment to experience something beautiful with the people around you. At sunset, the world is awake, but only some people's eyes are truly open. Only some people take advantage of the moment in time where everything is encapsulated in golden light. And as photographers, we are a few of these people.
Sunsets, the golden hour. It's such an important moment in photography, yet sometimes it's still so difficult to capture. We've seen so many sunset shots around the park, but we wanted to find a unique perspective on Yosemite and see it in a way others have not.
Oh my god.
Many visitors drive through the valley to get to other iconic destinations, but we wanted to capture the heart of Yosemite with its warm essence. We waited on the Jeep for hours, patiently waiting for this moment. Before we knew, orange rays cut through the mountain ranges and touched the valley meadows. I struggled to give directions from afar against the high winds, while finding the right composition. The light came and went within seconds, the moment gone before we could enjoy. But against all odds, this shot was forever in my hands.
It takes patience and a little bit of insanity to want to go out in the middle of the night and look at the stars. No one really thinks that the night can be as exciting as the day, but 2 a.m. can be one of the most rewarding times. When the world is so quiet, the sky can be so alive.
Like around 8, sun doesn't slow down and be dark. We do time lapse. Let's do like 11. Then we can get the sky a little bit more. So do we want it this wide? Yeah, so like what time is that? Yeah, so if we go like a little bit.
When planning for the star picture, I thought it would be the most difficult picture out of the 3 shots because it takes the most preparation and we would be working in the dark. We were in the valley for sunset and just thought to stay for stars. I visualized someone holding a light in the Milky Way between the trees and mountains. So we stayed for 4 hours after dinner, waiting for the Milky Way to line up. We were able to get the shot we wanted, and we were finally able to go back to sleep. It was around 2 a.m. and I decided to look out the window on the drive back and saw El Cap shine from the moon and had to stop. It was kind of just in the moment. Wasn't really thinking it was going to be one of the photos. But hey, I guess that's what you get to see when you're up at 2 a.m. As our trip ends, we leave knowing we took photos that capture the incredible week that we experienced here. Having early wake-ups or only a couple hours of sleep was difficult, but we didn't regret any of that. We look back at those little moments that we shared as friends. Our goal initially was to get 3 photos. As students who have photography as a hobby, we have rare moments to go out, to explore, and to fully embrace adventure. When we have a glimpse, we try to create, and it has brought us to so many places. It brought us here, to Yosemite.
Caused us to eat dinner on the roof of our Jeep, waiting for the sun to set, to see 37 shooting stars in the span of a couple of hours, to scream out the window going through tunnel view for the 15th time, and to dance. A lot.
In the beginning, it was about creating. That's why we came to Yosemite, to create, to show the world, through photography, how light manipulates our perspective, how it frames the way we see the world. We wanted to create images that ignite this appreciation for light in others, so that everyone noticed the fleeting moments of everyday life where everything is illuminated. But Yosemite ended up creating something in us as well. It created an inexplicable sense of belonging in the world, the feeling that we were exactly where we're supposed to be, but at the same time, destined to leave and explore the rest of the world. It created a fiery will to tell stories, the stories of people, of places, and how people and places are connected, and how that connection is one with deep roots both in the literal soil of the earth and in the souls of humanity.
So, in Yosemite, we created more than images. We created an unbreakable bond of friendship, forged together by an only intensified passion for creating. Yosemite did not satisfy our hunger to capture moments, to tell stories, to inspire. It was only the gasoline to our fire. So, in the end, it's still about creating. The only question is, what will we create next?
This next film tells a story of 2 people in a class project. This is On My Mind.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to get into your shot.
Oh no, really, it's fine.
Hey, I know you. Your name's Brian, right? You're in my comp productions class?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Well, I think so.
Oh, well, I'm Sophia. That's a really nice camera. You must be a really good photographer, huh?
Me? No, I wouldn't say that. I just like taking pictures and, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, it's just a hobby.
Well, hey, you're probably better than me, so. But I have to go, so I'll see you in class.
Yeah, all right. I'll catch you later in, yeah. All right.
Okay, so how do you start your production courses?
On the first day of class, everybody introduces themselves and tells me one thing they love, one thing they hate, and one thing they fear.
And this is a fantastic tactic that we have definitely discussed before because it's something that really gets at the core of a filmmaker. If you're telling stories about things that you love, things that you hate, and things that you're afraid of, you're telling stories that people can relate to, whether they're comedies, dramas, horrors, etc. Getting inside the psyche is the key to telling a good story. Now, every now and then, that last one, what you're afraid of, becomes the topic for a student to really lean into. And in this case, this documentary project did exactly that. We all deal with loss in our lives, but confronting death might be our biggest personal challenge. So this documentary shows 3 very different perspectives on death. This is Beyond the Wishing Well.
My name is Maureen Lies. I'm a mom, my first occupation, I guess, but I wouldn't consider it to be a job. I would consider it to be a love. Luke is my son. Luke would have been 26 years old this year. Luke died by suicide on December 20th, 2017.
My name is Andrea, and I currently work as a clinical analyst working on healthcare software.
I was a hospice nurse for approximately 4.5 years. Hospice nursing was not something that I intended to do. I didn't set out to be a hospice nurse. I consider it a privilege, actually, to be able to be invited into people's homes and take care of them when they're in those private, intimate moments of their life.
My name is George Greider. I am 75 years old. What I found most interesting about being 75 as opposed to being 35 is the way in which, and I've seen my parents out, I've seen my wife's parents out, seen other folks out, is the way in which you decline without it being really particularly dramatic, but someday it comes to you that, well, you're probably not going to be that good at chopsticks anymore.
So here is my puppy Fitzgerald. Luke realized when he was home visiting from college that it should be his dog. So Luke took Fitz to Boston, and now Fitz was his buddy. And they were inseparable. Obviously, animals don't understand, and dogs don't understand death and loss, and where did Luke go? And when I say his name, they kind of look. But I do also feel that there's a specialness about Fitz because of the relationship he had with Luke and how he's so protective of me and so sweet with me. And it sounds a little crazy, but sometimes the way he looks at me, it's, and jumps up and he gives me hugs and like it's going to be okay.
And my feeling of what my legacy might be is really in the emotional exchanges I've had with my friends over the years. I can point to things that I did, and I saved $1 billion here. That's really not what you should have been concentrating on. It's really more about, it's really about the quality of your life and your relationships and the good that you did.
A very significant reminder of Luke is the music that I listen to, which was also one of his passions, and I feel as though he sends me messages through songs, through cardinals. Every day he sends me this cardinal that comes to my yard every single morning. I know that when I hear that cardinal in the morning before I go to work, Luke is with me.
My mother passed away on hospice. Looking back to my mother's death and how I handled things the year before she passed, there are a lot of things that, I could have talked to her about, even just discussed how she felt about the fact that she was dying, and was there anything that I could do to help her in that process. I didn't do any of those things, and I really did not know what I was missing out on until it was too late.
There was a distance between my father and me. I had a very conflicted relationship with him. And he was very, very strong-willed, and maybe I was too. And at the age of about 80, he had a heart attack and became very dependent. And I was able to help him, including helping him die. We gave him tapes, meditation tapes about relaxation, because he was very anxious about his decline. And one of the elements of it was let go. Let go, let go. And when it was very clear that he was in his last hours, I was there and I was holding his head and saying, let go, let go, let go.
Working in hospice makes you realize that death and dying is not talked about on a regular basis. So when a couple knows that they're going to have a baby, they start planning from day one. They plan every tiny detail because they know a baby is coming. People don't do that with death, and they should. We all know it's going to happen. Every single person who's alive is going to die. And so knowing how you want your death to be and making sure everyone knows that, then nobody else has to think about it for you. And that's the biggest piece. People focus so much on the person that's dying, they don't think about the people that are there.
As contentious as my relationship was with my father, 2 years after he was dead, was in a business conflict situation. I really wanted to call him and, you know, ask what he would do.
Very early on, I wanted to pick up the phone and call Luke and tell him a story or ask him a question.
Not there. Not there.
And he wasn't there to help me. It just pops into my mind, but then it's like, oh, I can't call him.
They die, and you think that's the worst that can happen, and then they stay dead.
The first year after Luke passed was all of, you know, the first Christmas, the first birthday, the first everything. It's hard. But the second year has been even harder because I feel like people are afraid to ask questions. People are, I think, afraid to say, how are you doing? How are you doing? Not like, oh, how are you? But how are you really? After Luke passed, people just didn't know what to say, and that's perfectly okay. Who knows what to say when somebody that you care about has lost a loved one? If I had a friend who was in the same position, I wouldn't know what to say either. So I always say to people, you don't have to know what to say, just give me a hug.
After having experienced my mother's death, it has made me think more about how I interact with my children and the things that I tell them or don't tell them. I try to make sure that they know what family history we have. So we do talk about people that they might not even remember because they passed. My daughter was very small when my mother passed. So, you know, I do still tell her stories about my mother, even though she's not here anymore.
People often ask me, how do you live in this same place where you lost your son, where you found your son? And some people say, well, you should move. You should just get away from that, you know, that space. But this is my home. There's lots of great memories and there's lots of not so good memories. And this place is very special because of the good memories that I've had with my family. And yes, it is very hard at times. And every day when I come home from work is the hardest because that's when I found Luke. It's when I came home from work. But once I get through that every day, it's okay. The good outweighs the bad, I guess.
Every time there was a wishing well, every time there was a fountain to throw a coin in, all I wished for was more of what I have. More. My wife, my life.
The things that I've learned from working in hospice of wanting to live my best life, taking care of my mental and emotional health, those things, because they're important to me, I want my children to understand, and I don't want them to have to wait until they are as old as I was to figure that out, because they shouldn't have to, and they should be starting now.
There's a really great book by Leo Tolstoy called The Death of Ivan Ilyich. And Ivan Ilyich understood that men were mortal, and he understood that he was a man, but he never put the two together. And a lot of people can, you know, live without thinking that, yeah, you're going to die. Without death, there's no beauty, because if we're going to live forever, then the evanescent light on your beloved's face, or this wonderful flower that's going to die, if that doesn't happen, then there's no beauty. Everything's commonplace, because we're going to see it forever. At the end, everybody wishes for more time, but right now, I don't have a sense of either impending doom or anxiety about it. The unknown is what it is. Once you accept that, the rest is easy.
I always teased and I thought I wanted to live to 108, but I don't want to anymore. I want to live a full life. I have things I want to do. I want to continue to work, be a productive citizen. I want to be able to be here for Rebecca when she gets married, God willing, or if she has children. I want to be here for the grandchildren and experience all of those kinds of wonderful things that moms get to do. I've had quite a bit of significant loss in my life, and then losing my son and, you know, some other people throughout my life that have been important to me. I feel as though I look forward to seeing them again. I don't want to wait till 108 to do that. Yes, it's okay. You can stay or you can go. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay.
Have you ever played with a magic 8-ball?
I have.
Have you ever read a horoscope?
Yes.
What's your sign?
Pisces. Woo, fish.
Have you ever eaten a fortune cookie?
Of course. They're a little sweet. They're tasty.
Okay. And what do you typically do with that fortune?
I read it. I'd probably throw it away. I mean, maybe hold on to it if it was like weird. Maybe take a photo of it.
Okay, for your Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a big Insta. I have like 14 followers.
Most of the time, we let those slips of paper and those fortune cookies go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not always. This is hollow fortunes.
Will I have a good day today?
Hey, Grandma. Hey, Shane's Garden? Yeah, I know. I don't think I've talked to you since, like, the funeral. Hello. You guys having a party or something?
Our meeting starts in 15 minutes.
Actually, I was calling to ask if you remember the name of that nice girl you mentioned a while back. Could I come? Have you read The Handmaid's Tale?
Depends. Are you an alcoholic?
I would highly recommend it. Really empowers women. I think she worked at JCPenney.
Actually, would you mind leaving? You're being distracting and kind of annoying.
Oh, you have to go? Wait. Well, at least let me give you a bookmark. It was nice talking to you. Okay, bye, I love you. Oh, frick. Enjoy.
Could I have an extra fortune cookie?
Yeah. You can have 4?
But I only wanted one.
I have to warn you, the fortunes can be very confusing sometimes.
That's why I like to write about them.
Oh, you're a writer?
Yeah.
That's cool. I love stories.
How could you not?
You have to sign.
All right. Bye, Ben.
Bye. I don't think we finished all of our food. No dessert for us.
Dessert time. Swimming is easy. Staying afloat is hard.
That's what I mean. That's just confusing.
I don't know. I think this could be a story. You're floating down the river, gliding with the current. But then one day you come to a tree, walking your way, and you're stuck. Just floating. If you can float long enough, the current might drag you down a different path, but sometimes it's too much, and you drown. Other times you start to sink, but someone comes along and saves you. But sometimes the tree just falls right on your head. And that's that. Your turn.
I've never gotten a blank fortune before. What does that even mean?
Probably means someone got fired.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Okay, okay. Okay.
So much for
Steve, how do you feel about exotic fashion?
You can't use that word anymore.
I'm not talking about Joe Exotic.
But that's all I think about.
Well, that's not the topic of our next film. What we are going to learn about is a culture.
Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Okay. What we are going to learn about is a culture that you may not have ever even known existed.
Mm-hmm.
This next documentary is called Inside the Cuteness,
Ooh.
Lolita Fashion.
Here we go.
Lolita, I think, is a way to express oneself.
I really like it because it lets me really personify how cute I really feel.
I identify with Lolita fashion, the parts of it that are kind of like looking your best, or, you know, just little things like refined manners and kind of carrying yourself well. So the event we're at today is a craft meetup, and the theme is unicorns. So we have the last unicorn movie playing in the background. We have lots of treats and snacks out that are also kind of unicorn themed, tea party themed. My definition of Lolita fashion, it's a fashion that came from Japan, but it's inspired by kind of Victorian or maybe French Rococo fashion. They pulled a bunch of elements of that and kind of made it their own thing. And then other cultures also liked what they did with it.
The thing that really inspired me to get into this culture is basically like Japanese culture and fashions, kind of like the anime and manga aesthetics. I started watching Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura when I was very little, so I got into that magical girl aesthetic, started drawing it all the time, and I really loved the outfits in those series.
There are a lot of different types of Lolita, such as Sweet Lolita or Gothic Lolita, and depending on how you feel or what you like in terms of your favorite colors or your favorite styles or how frilly you want to be wearing your clothes, Lolita fashion is a really great way to kind of exude that into the world.
I've modeled for certain Lolita brands. It's been a very fun experience, and being the petite stature that most Japanese people are, I can model for them very easily. The dress that I'm wearing right now is the dress that I modeled for Angelic Pretty at an event over the summer. This is what it looks like in Saks Blue. The way that you would start off a Lolita outfit is by putting on bloomers, socks, and a blouse. Then you want to put on your main piece, like a jumper skirt, which you'll use the blouse for, or a one piece, which you wouldn't need a blouse for. Then any other accessories, wigs, and the petticoat last, since you have to pull it up under everything. When I go out in public with this fashion, people are entranced. They don't know what I'm doing, what I'm wearing, what the event is, and it's a very powerful kind of experience. We'll usually have a lot of people come up to us and ask us, are you in a play? Are you Miss Bo Peep? Maybe are you playing as like Strawberry Shortcake or something like that? It all depends on what kind of outfit we're wearing at the time. And I love to tell people that it's just clothing, just how they like to put on jeans and a sweatshirt.
For me, in terms of an identity, comes across as a sort of creativeness, especially since it takes so much time and so much effort to put together a coordinate, to gather the pieces for it, and to style it in a way that you feel comfortable and good in. And it's really interesting to me that every single Lolita that I've met has that sort of creative energy within them. It's kind of fun that we're at Akiba Underground and at a craft meetup as well. Everyone has their own little things that they're working on.
I'm a very gentle type of a male and predominate much more as female. My all-time favorite musician has always been and will always be David Bowie. I would see this very unique person on stage, looking more female-like, but not even trying to be. But just the freedom of doing that and being a musician, basically, and having so many people love his music and see something very unique, no matter who you are. But for me in particular, I felt, oh, that's great. He could express that part of himself. I should be able to do that too. I think there's many people, and it doesn't matter what age you are, we're not very conventional and we want to express something unique. And I think that's what Lolita does for anyone who is a Lolita.
I like my name being Lisa. I just like saying Lisa Lolita. That's perfectly fine with me. And everybody, and I think what's really good is the more people hear about Lolitas and know and see, and people will understand that better. And who knows, maybe many more people would like to join up with us too.
And I'm floating in the most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today.
Despite our best efforts, discrimination is still a major part of everyday life for so many Americans. In this documentary, a host of individuals share their own personal stories. This is Through the Eyes.
Discrimination and stereotyping, I felt, I wouldn't say plays a tremendous role, but has had an impact in my life as far as me understanding who I am and my identity within society as well as internally.
Towards the beginning of the semester, a couple months ago, I was with some friends and I was the only person of color in the room. And when we started talking about Halloween costumes, they were just mentioning like, oh, we should be characters from a TV show. And when we got to the only black character of the TV show, one of my friends goes, oh, Priya, you should be that character. And right away it just made me feel uncomfortable and kind of cringe on the inside because I'm not even black, and I just felt kind of powerless because I wasn't really willing to say anything in the moment.
It was the summer of 2015. Me and my friends met up. We were gonna go to the mall. As we set out, we got onto one of the main roads, and there's a hidden driveway. As we were passing the driveway, there was a car that kind of sped out and hit us. As we got everybody out of the car, we realized that the people that hit us were 4 elderly white women. One of my friends, she spoke up and was talking about how the situation actually did fall on their hands, and one of the ladies said, "Bitch, this is not your place." It allowed me to see how there's such thing as a place. Like,
about 2 years ago, sophomore year, it was 3 days before my dad's birthday, and my mom basically had a brain aneurysm and collapsed at work. So the doctor said, "We can't wait anymore because it's already been 4 hours since you presented with a headache. We're just gonna operate." So they drilled 2 holes into her skull, and she went into a coma. And then one morning I get a call from my dad saying, "Hey, you need to get home right now. I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And he just says, "Your mom's in the hospital. I don't think she's going to wake up." And so when I get to the hospital, the doctors told me that I couldn't see her and my dad couldn't see her. And I asked why, and they said, "Well, one of the residents saw a bruise on her lip." And I was like, "Yeah, well, she fell. When she passed out, she probably hit it on the table." But the doctors were like, "Oh no, we don't believe you. We think this is essentially abuse." And they called a social worker in to talk to us. And the social worker basically implied that, "I don't know how it is in your country, like it's okay for guys to hit women, but it's not okay here." But to say that, "Hey, it's because you guys are Asian," that just felt wrong, and I didn't know if my mom was going to wake up then. And so they got in a translator because they assumed, hey, like they can't speak English even though I was born here, raised here. It just made me so mad because not only now am I being discriminated for, I don't know, just how I'm talking, but you're going to prevent me from seeing my mother who might be dying just because you assume that Asians hit women. And then afterwards, I asked for a second opinion. I said, "Bring in another doctor who's unbiased and tell me again that my dad hit my mom." And they brought in a second doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, that's just the bruise from her intubation tube, pressing down on her lip." And I didn't know she was going to wake up. And thank God she did. If she hadn't, I would have never forgiven him. I don't know what I would have done. I never would have forgiven myself for not pushing harder to see her.
We were at a church function. There was this guy who's also Nigerian. During our conversation, he noticed the way I talk, and he noticed the way that I tend to act and my mannerisms, and he immediately made a lot of connotations about me and assumptions, and he went off on a tangent about how we shouldn't let ourselves be enslaved again, which was referring to us as Nigerians. It rubbed me the wrong way because he saw a lot of inequality that I didn't really see as well, because he thought because I spoke and I acted white, I was basically enslaved to white people. I just disagreed with that, and he kept referring to me as American, which, as a really proud Nigerian, he just completely disregarded that. And that felt really disheartening to hear it from one of our own.
I've never felt like I've been discriminated against on the basis of my skin color in my life. I might not have color to my skin, but I'm about 40-something% Latino American. So both of my mom's grandparents, they were actually immigrants, and my mom is very dark in skin color, and she's been discriminated against. One time we were at the mall and someone thought that my mom was just like a friend of mine. She thought that we were just shopping together like she was some family friend. People have actually mistaken us for not being related based on our skin color. At the time, it felt pretty terrible, so it just kind of made me feel very distant from my mom.
Every time I hear or see a situation where there's prejudice, discrimination, hatred, bigotry involved, I just get so fucking upset. Like, how do you cage in those emotions in a society that isn't built for you? Those are things that I constantly combat and go to war with in my mind. I think it's just disgusting and it's inhumane. There needs to be a cease of discrimination.
It always catches you off guard whenever someone within your own community does it. I felt like I had to prove myself that I was Nigerian, and he made me feel like he was trying to enslave me in a certain mindset.
When my mom is discriminated against and we're together as a family, it feels a little weird for me because my family, they're all darker than I am. And so it makes me feel like I'm not really part of my family and I don't really relate to the things they've gone through. So it makes me feel like a little put off from my family and my heritage in general.
Optimistically, you would hope that people would do their own research and kind of become aware of what to say and what not to say when you're in a situation like that. But I feel like some people, they might not ever get it or take their own initiative. So then unless someone says something to them about why their language is wrong and why it's offensive, they're never going to learn because they're just going to stay with their comfortable habits and not really bother to change.
I just think that racism, prejudice, and discrimination have become so common that people have almost started to neglect it. There are a lot of different ways it can happen, and you really don't know what the person sitting next to you might have experienced until you try to see it through their eyes.
How often do you randomly knock on a stranger's door?
Never, if I can help it.
Right. Why?
Unless I have something to say, that would be awfully awkward, don't you think?
Or because it's terrifying?
Yeah, you never really know what's behind that door.
Correct. But it's probably not this. Okay, here we go. This is a narrative film called Peaches.
A film project went very wrong for a group of college students in Connecticut 2 months ago. A heartbreaking story, the suspect's still yet to be found, but just a few hours ago, footage from the student film appeared online at the address peachesforyou.com. Authorities had thought the footage was lost when the camera was stolen at the scene. Be aware, the footage is very graphic. I'm David Allen with Channel 4 News.
Good evening, ma'am. We're two volunteers on behalf of Miss Julia Richardson. Mrs. Richardson is a hard-working, intelligent...
Look, man, I don't think we're gonna be getting any more signatures tonight. It's already dark out, and you would not believe how bad I gotta piss.
Our goal is 10 a night. We're only at 9. All right, the next house will probably just let you use their bathroom.
Fine.
Doesn't look like there's anyone home. Let's just go to the next house.
I don't think we should be in here, dude. Drew. I can't be here.
Oh! Oh! Why? Why do you do things like this?
Because you're an easy target.
Dude, can you just chill out? Listen.
What? Is that music?
We're sorry. We heard your music and we wanted to see. We're just trying to go, but the door seems to be locked.
Oh, it's okay. I love visitors. I didn't even get to perform yet. So why don't you just come back down and watch my show, and then you'll be on your way. Please, take a seat. Hi, kids. I'm Peaches the Clown, and I'm here to turn your frowns upside down. You kids like balloon animals? They never fail to get a smile. As a kid, I was poor. My neighbors were poor. My rundown town was poor. No one really laughed. But once a year, the circus came to town. It was like Christmas. That big tent, those bright lights, the loud noises. My favorite part, guess, don't. It was the clowns. Rolling around and falling out of tiny cars. It was hilarious. I had never seen my townfolk laugh so hard. Next time the big top came to town, I hopped on that caravan and I never looked back.
Peaches, was it? Great story, really is, but we gotta get back to work. Our boss is expecting us back at the office. We don't want to make her...
Shut up! Didn't anyone teach you any manners? Sorry, snapped. Other clowns always said I was a hothead. Anyways, I worked for Madame Boucher's Circus of Joy for 23 years. I got to see the world. I worked my way up from dishwasher to fry cook, and then finally, I got my moment. I got to become Peaches the Clown. It was my destiny to make people laugh, to turn their frowns upside down. Finally, I had my first performance. But when it came time for me to spin my plates, I dropped one. It shattered. The crowd booed. I hate being booed. Stupid people. They didn't know how poor I was, how hard I worked. I showed them. Look who's laughing now. Well, enough about me. For this next part, I'm gonna need a volunteer. Let's not all jump up at once. You! Come with me. Come on. It's fine. We're friends now. Let's get a little comfy. From my peach to yours. Now don't worry. I've got really great aim. I promise.
Wait, no, please, don't throw that, please, no. Wait, cut.
What the hell?
What the fuck, Frank? You weren't supposed to throw it.
I'm sorry, it slipped.
Oh my fucking god. Somebody call 911.
Hey.
What the fuck? Guys,
Hey.
what the fuck did we do?
Jesus Christ.
Guys, Casey's bleeding.
Oh, what the fuck? Do I take it out or do I leave it in? I don't know.
CPR or something, I don't know.
I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Just help him, please. Hey! Oh my God!
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope I turned your frowns upside down.
Okay, so that marks our final film of the evening. And a quick peek.
Julia really looked good. And obviously the music worked well.
I really like the B-roll.
Shows that our jury is hard at work discussing the films and finding their frontrunners. While they're doing that, let's meet them briefly. Ashley Brannon holds both a bachelor's and a brand new master's degree in communication from UConn. In 2017, her narrative film Julia and Juliet was selected for the first annual Commotion Pictures Screening, and she once again had a film selected in 2018, a documentary titled Let's Have a Conversation. Steve Grinelli is an assistant teaching professor at Northeastern University who specializes in popular culture. Before coming to Northeastern, he worked at SUNY Oswego, where he co-directed the Hollywood POV program, where students went directly to Los Angeles for field experience in the entertainment industry. This year, he was awarded the Teaching Fellow Award by the Eastern Communication Association. Adam Rainier is an assistant professor of communication at Westchester University in Pennsylvania. He holds a master's and doctoral degree in communication from UConn and is a veteran of the Multimedia Production sequence, having taught our Fundamentals of Digital Production course for over 2 years. Sahara Shreezla is a 2018 graduate of the University of Connecticut who majored in communication. Sahara had 2 films accepted to the second annual Commotion Pictures Screening, including the documentary The Body Journey, which placed second for the Audience Award. Okay, so we'll check in with those jurors in a minute to see who is leaving with the top honors.
But while they deliberate, we would like to thank a few very special people who make events like this one possible.
We'll start with the UConn Department of Communication and our department head, Dr. Ken Laughlin, and our administrative coordinator, Cindy Stewart. Without your support, without your constant help, none of our multimedia production work would be possible, especially being able to pull something like this together. I'd also like to thank our academic advisors, Katie D'Antonio and Joel Nevers. Usually, Katie and Joel are busy setting up, coordinating, and enjoying the red carpet on this night. And obviously, we couldn't do that part of this year. So I hope you guys are nice and comfy at home, relaxing and enjoying yourselves.
We also want to thank Anna Young, a graduate student who taught our Fundamentals of Digital Production course this fall. And speaking of graduate students, we'd like to thank the UConn Communication Graduate Student Association, our grad students who help and support these events each and every year.
And we also want to thank all of our production students. This has been a complicated and exhausting semester, and we are really, truly so proud of everything that you have accomplished in spite of the situation. This has been amazing. One of the coolest semesters I can think of in terms of watching students persevere. We are incredibly proud of you. Congratulations and thank you.
And to all the parents, all the friends, all the family, and our community watching, thank you for supporting creative work tonight and for hanging out with us.
We were getting a little lonely here.
Well, speak for yourself.
I was getting a little lonely here. Okay, one final thank you. So tonight's awards are supported by $500 in scholarship prizes, and it's made entirely possible by an anonymous donor. Now, you know who you are, and I know you're out there watching. So I want to say, on behalf of all of us, thank you. Now, speaking of awards, it is time to formally check in with our jury. So this time I'm going to open up my mic. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey Steve, how are you?
Good.
Thank you all so much for participating in our screening and being our jury tonight. I know you've been busy watching these films, and I'm sure you've been deliberating, making some decisions. Have we arrived at a top 3 at this point?
Yes, we have.
Yep.
That's exciting. What do we got?
So for our third film, our number 3, the jury has selected Ankit. We all felt that Ankit was a pretty strong film. We were extremely pleased with the B-roll. Obviously, a music film needs strong audio, and I think everybody here would agree that had really strong audio. And we really liked the interview subjects a lot that were brought into the film. I thought it just added an extra level to the documentary and made it really convincing and really strong. And we were very pleased. We thought it was a really, really nice film.
Awesome. Okay. Any other thoughts on Ankit before we get to our top 2?
I really liked Ankit so much. It was a great subject that was chosen. The the different interview subjects were also good as well. I like the mixing of visuals from the park to the apartment to I just thought it was really well done. It was visually, it looked great visually, sounded great. The music was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it told a really great story and it did well. It did so technically well. Like everything was technically well done and it was really compelling. Yeah, I really liked the B-roll, especially in Central Park and getting the interviews with the people that were watching him. I thought that was very interesting and very different than what we usually see.
Cool. Well, it seems like all of you pretty much agreed on that, which is exciting too, because it means the deliberations went fairly peacefully. Nobody beat anybody up in there, huh?
No, not so much.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you if you have a third film. I'm assuming you have a first and a second in no particular order. Who have you arrived at for your top two?
For our top two, we had two, again, really strong films. We put Peaches and Yosemite Lights as the top two films, definitely.
Okay, so tell me about Peaches first.
Yeah, I think we all found Peaches to be really unique. I think we all thought it might be going in different directions at different times, and then it ended up where it ended up, and it was a really cool project and kind of a meta project, I guess, if you really want to think about it that way, since brought in some elements of group work into the assignment of the film as well. The acting was incredible. I mean, I know I've done this a couple of times, but it might be the best acting I've seen come out of a student film in any of these classes. It was really well done, coming across with the makeup and the props, and it just felt very convincing. And so I think we really liked Peaches. And I don't know if anybody else has other stuff they'd like to add about Peaches as well.
Yeah, I just thought that it was clear how much effort that this group put into this film. It was clear how much time they spent on every single shot and all of the editing and producing. So it really came through.
Yeah, I would say that Peaches the Clown was the singularly best acting performance of all of the films that I watched. It kept your attention throughout, but then those scenes were disturbing in a good way. The way they kind of kept your attention, wanted to see where it was going. But I think the film was definitely strengthened by that, by so many things. But that one performance really stood out.
Yeah, I definitely think the first half I wasn't really sure where it was going, and I was a little confused. But by the end, I was like sitting on my edge of my seat watching it, and I have like major props for everything they've done with it as like a past student.
Cool. All right. So high praise for Peaches. Now tell me about that documentary. This is always fun when we get the top two and one's a narrative and one's a documentary. It's happened a couple other years, Adam. I know you know that. Tell me about Yosemite Lights, your top documentary.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It was nice that we came down to a final two that gave us both perspectives. We had a narrative we really liked. We had a documentary. We had a couple of both we really, really liked. Yosemite Lights was really unique because we often get films that are stuck inside Connecticut or stuck inside the Northeast, and we got a totally different perspective of the United States, in the Midwest or wherever you want to kind of consider that part of the country. Just, different than what you would expect around, Connecticut and the UConn campus. The visuals were stunning. The camera work was really, really nice. There was a lot of multi-camera use, and that balance between photography and actually moving images I thought was really cool. A really cool angle to kind of play up throughout the whole entire documentary. Really well done. The music went along with it. It was just a very, very strong documentary throughout.
Awesome. Other notes on Yosemite Lights?
I think just bouncing off of Adam, I think I really enjoyed watching something that, not that any of the other documentaries weren't good, but something outside of Connecticut. It was just so different, and the visuals were just amazing. And now that's definitely one of my top places I want to visit.
Yeah.
I think the technical skills in this were also really great. They were able to show the beauty and the spirit that they had on this trip through their film, and so it was a fun story to watch.
I think to build off of that, when I was first introduced to the filmmakers in the film and framed as kind of like a travel log, the first thing I thought was, oh, this is going to look good. And it really did look good. It looked amazing. But then at the same time, I thought there was a narrative element to the documentary that really held it together well for me. I liked the staging of the 3 different shots that they were trying to get in that order, and talking about it as this kind of unifying experience amongst all of them and anybody else who would make that trek as well. So it wasn't, yes, it was visually great, but there was also this added element that I thought put it to, near the top of my list.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you all for that. Now, so we've got 2 films. You all agree on who you've landed on for first and who you landed on for second, right? Okay, so we're going to try one of those terrible live Zoom things right now. At the same time, on the count of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, name, tell us all who tonight's jury award for Best Picture is. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Peaches.
Peaches. Okay, congratulations to Peaches. They take our top prize. Before I thank you all immensely for your work, and just to recap, we've got Peaches in first place, Yosemite Lights in second, and Ankit in third. Congratulations to all our winners. You're all going home with a scholarship tonight. Congratulations on that. But before I release the jury, as they like to say, anything else you guys wanted to add, or any notes on just the whole experience, or how weird it was to, lock you in your homes while you were already locked in your homes and make you do this, or anything like that?
It was very nice to get a break and do something a little bit different. So I think I'm sure I speak for everybody in appreciating the invitation to do this. It was a very enjoyable experience because we got something else to watch on television when other things might be getting a little boring right now. So.
Fair enough. Anybody else have anything to add?
I'll say, as a previous student who's made films in the screening before, I was really excited to see what new students were coming up with, and they are getting more and more talented every year, and that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Jumping off of what Ashley said, I definitely give everyone big props, especially with the pandemic happening right now. And I know, like, up until the last moment, I was still editing little things, so I give them major props for still finishing everything, and everything came out so well done. So major props to everyone.
And let me add on to that, as an outsider, of somebody who I haven't seen I haven't been part of the class. I haven't seen this project in full form before. So I had a very blank slate going in to watching these videos, and to say I came out impressed on the other side is an understatement. I was taken aback with the overall quality, and just how hard apparently everybody worked to get these films done. So I was impressed and thankful for original content and original stories in this time.
Well, that's high praise. While you guys were deliberating, we thanked all the students for how hard they worked. We thanked their parents. We thanked their friends, their support networks, and just the general perseverance. And I think that's been one of the stories of this semester for everybody involved in anything with higher education, just people pushing through despite all the circumstances, including all of you, our wonderful jury, for taking some time out of your schedules to sit in with us tonight and evaluate these films. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Hopefully you hang out for the rest of the screening, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, take care, guys. Okay, so there you have it. Congratulations to our winners. Thank you again to our jury and to all of you for watching. This was really, really fun. I hope we never do this again.
I would much rather be in downtown Hartford right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, so before we lose the stream or something malfunctions, I think it's time to call it a night.
The biggest thing you can do when you've got the ending of the film is end the film. So, thank you, everybody.
Have a good
great night.